Not even those closest to Jim Jones anticipated this one. Harlem is being torn apart by a full-blown betrayal scandal that began as a peaceful night out. Following the release of a horrific video of Camron and Chrissy Lampkin, rumors are spreading more quickly than ever before, supposedly having a private evening together. Jim has also reached his breaking point as a result of the aftermath. It all started when an enigmatic video footage of Camron exiting the same opulent condominium surfaced online. Only hours before, Chrissy was spotted coming in. The video ignited the internet. After fans saw the connection right away, social media was inundated with irrational accusations, intense arguments, and heartbreaking responses in a matter of minutes. Jim, who had apparently been avoiding attention since his previous public outburst, learned the same evening. Insiders further claimed that his response was unprecedented. One witness said he went utterly crazy. It was no longer rage. It hurt. Now, according to rumors circulating among Dipet's inner circle, Cam and Chrissy had already crossed paths in private. As fans search for the facts, they are re-examining deleted postings, old messages, and late-night sightings. The actual query, though, is, was this a simple miscommunication or the most egregious act of treachery that ultimately destroyed all that Chrissy and Jim had worked so hard to create? When rumors of a startling night between Camron and Chrissy Lampkin began to spread like wildfire, the internet went completely crazy. What began as unfounded fan speculation turned into one of the most shocking scandals in Harlem's history. Never observed. After learning the truth, Jim Jones, who had been by Chrissy's side for more than 10 years, apparently went insane. And this isn't simply a rumor if the most recent disclosures are accurate. This might be the last blow to one of the most famous love stories in hip-hop. Tales, a mysterious post that surfaced on social media late Friday night, was the beginning of it all. Fans instantly recognized the location when a fuzzy photo of Chrissy and Camron appeared online, even though no one could verify when or where it was taken. It wasn't a club. The event was private. The lounge was private. It's the same one where Cam used to throw his old Dipset parties. The wall art, the lighting, and even the drink menu on the table all complemented images from previous blogs. In a matter of minutes, the internet investigators were investigating. Twitter exploded. "Why does Chrissy sit so near Cam?" a fan inquired. Someone else said, "Jim better check his girl before this turns into another diaper disaster." Chrissy and the hashtag Cam became popular within a few hours. However, that was only the start, as the subsequent events transformed the subdued murmurs into a full-fledged conflagration. "Y'all don't even know the half of it," wrote a barman who claimed to have been working that evening in a comment beneath the post. Cam was behaving very at ease with her, and Jim wasn't invited. Fans started taking screenshots of it right away before it was removed, but it was too late since by the next morning, the tale had already taken on a life of its own. One blog claimed to have exclusive insider information about the night, while another claimed that Chrissy and Cam left together in a black SUV well after midnight and that she had been spotted arriving separately from Jim and remaining far longer than anyone had anticipated. The internet didn't care if it was true or not because the narrative was too compelling, too dramatic, and too intimate. Then, in the most startling moment, someone shared what seemed to be a brief voicemail between Chrissy and Camron. You could hear Chrissy's voice saying something like, "I shouldn't even be here right now," even though the audio quality wasn't very good. "You know you wanted to pull up," Cam said, chuckling. The message was removed within an hour after fans lost it, but hundreds of individuals had already downloaded it. What was worse was Jim Jones's silence over all of this. Normally, Jim is quick to defend Chrissy online, but this time, there is nothing, no posts, likes, or comments, just deafening silence. Jim allegedly learned about the rumor from a friend who sent him the video, not from Chrissy. According to insiders close to the couple who spoke to Celebrity Trap, Jim was reportedly in the studio when he received a message, and witnesses claim he lost it, hurling his phone, storming out, and yelling that following that, the issue deteriorated. With friends of the couple taking sides, some of Jim's boys reportedly told him to let it go because the industry is full of false information, while others weren't so understanding. Later that night, cameras captured Chrissy outside, wearing a loud argument that lasted for almost an hour, with doors slamming, shouting, and Chrissy leaving in tears. According to one insider, Jim confronted Chrissy about it, demanding answers, and when she attempted to brush it off, he lost control. She didn't say anything, but Camron threw fuel to the fire when he went live on Instagram the following day, nonchalantly addressing rumors that people are still talking about. She was wearing sunglasses and appeared visibly irritated as paparazzi tried to interview her. Although he did not specifically mention Chrissy, his tone was clear as he laughed and remarked, "When two legends are in the same room, people usually want to chat. You all need to unwind, but some people just can't handle seeing me happy," he said, grinning. Fans went into meltdown mode after hearing that statement. Was he making fun of Jim? Was he verifying that something had occurred? It couldn't have come at a worse time. According to reports, Jim Jones lost it after watching the live video. According to sources, he unfollowed Cam and Chrissy in a matter of minutes. Fans noticed and recorded the motion right away. The comment sections became battlefields. One fan said, "Jim's hurt. Y'all, you can see it all over his face in that recent interview." Another person wrote, "If this is true, Chrissy truly did him dirty." Meanwhile, those close to Chrissy maintained that the rumors were exaggerated. Hollywood Unlocked was informed by a pal that Chrissy was at a private event. Nothing improper occurred. People are attempting to invent drama where none exists. However, the harm had already been done. Logic was not what the crowd wanted. They desired drama. And in the world of hip-hop, stories like this one catch on like wildfire. Jim Jones' social media activity began to create its own story as the hours stretched into days. "Loyalty is rare," he wrote in a mysterious post on his Instagram account. "Never confuse attention with respect." That single statement threw fans into yet another rage. Everyone was aware of the subject. This is when things become even more gloomy. Rumor has it that Jim contacted someone close to Camron and demanded to know if the story was accurate. Insiders say he hasn't spoken to either of them since that night, so whatever he heard must have broken him to pieces. Fans are now beginning to make the connections between these longtime friends, the emotional stress, the unfollows, the cryptic posts, and the stillness. What actually transpired between Chrissy and Camron that evening? Was the greatest enduring connection in Harlem severed by a benign reunion or by the final betrayal? The second section explores what witnesses say transpired behind closed doors that evening, and how Jim Jones' wrath might have escalated. The days after the purportedly covert night between Camron and Chrissy Lampkin were utter pandemonium, more so than anyone could have imagined. A whirlwind of accusations, fan theories, and emotional outbursts from those who had followed Jim and Chrissy's romance for years had erupted from what had begun as internet rumors. However, underlying the widely shared headlines and insiders claimed that something a lot darker was going on behind the scenes, as evidenced by social media posts. Jim Jones's response was explosive rather than merely emotional. Several people close to the Dia group claimed that Jim vanished entirely for over 2 days after learning about the claimed connection between Cam and Chrissy. He didn't have his phone on. His family was in a panic as his team was unable to contact him. Some even said he was trying to find Cam for a Mantum discussion late at night while driving around Harlem. And when Jim eventually came to the surface, it was furious rather than cool. He allegedly barged inside, and one of the Camron began asking anybody who would listen for answers in the recording studios where he often works. Jim was walking about, punching the walls, and screaming that no one disrespects me and gets away with it. According to witnesses who told Celebrity Trap that he appeared to have not slept in days. Rumors were spreading more quickly at this time than anyone could manage them. Although no one had actual video, many began claiming on the internet that Jim and Cam had gotten into a violent brawl. Then, something unexpected happened. CCTV footage that was posted from outside a recording studio seemed to show Jim arriving in a black Escalade, rushing to the door, and arguing with a man who had a striking resemblance to Camron. Even though the movie was brief, just a few seconds, it was enough to disrupt the internet. However, that was all that was required to bring down the internet. The video instantly froze, and fans zoomed in, and began dissecting each frame. Jim is undoubtedly that person. Others noted that Camron's security guard was seen in the corner, saying, "Hey," a big guy known from his Instagram stories. One person said, "You can see the dip chain around his neck." Escalated to the point where it was said that both Jim's and Cam's teams had to release statements denying any altercation. By that time, however, they were not believed. Chrissy's silence, however, exacerbated the situation. Since the story, she hadn't shared anything on social media. Usually, she would share pictures of her outfits, brand collaborations, or even a mysterious statement. But this time, nothing. Jim deserves the truth. And fans showered her earlier posts with comments like "Say something, girl." Even famous people began to chime in. And the fire was rekindled by a tweet from one of Chrissy's old Love and Hip Hop co-stars that said, "It always be your own people. That's why I keep my circle small." Everyone began making connections that might or might not have existed. However, reports claim that Chrissy made an unsuccessful attempt to contact Jim behind closed doors. She tried to talk things out when she arrived at his condo, but Jim wouldn't open the door. According to one insider, it is said that she sat outside before departing for more than an hour. The picture of Chrissy waiting tearfully while Jim ignored her went viral on fan pages. Things were rapidly getting out of control. Then, however, came the unexpected shock. With the handle Kipstraight's an enigmatic Instagram profile appeared that purported to have documentation of the events between Camron and Chrissy that evening. Fans immediately thought it was Chrissy and Cam, as the account shared a screenshot of what appeared to be text messages between two anonymous individuals. According to the messages, "You know I shouldn't be doing this. So why are you here? Because I missed you, Cam." The post had over 200,000 views in less than an hour before disappearing. Some believe Instagram removed it, while others maintain it was deleted. Even though it was a fake, the screenshots had already gone viral. and Jim apparently saw the post live, which was the tipping point. According to sources, he called his staff and informed them that he was finished with everything, calling off a scheduled performance and turning dark. Later that evening, he shared a black screen with the 3 words, "No loyalty left," on his Instagram story. Jim built his life around that woman. One fan wrote in a heartbreaking message, "It's over if this is accurate. Cam always had that slick energy." Someone else wrote, "I anticipated this." However, fans were no longer the only ones making assumptions. Both artists' close friends began unfollowing one another in private. Joel, Cam's longtime partner Santana, stopped like Jim's postings all of a sudden. Another Dipet member, Freaky Zicky, went live and remarked, "Man, I don't know what's going on." However, Harlem was designed to withstand such treachery. The last straw then arrived. A fresh video appeared online, purportedly captured in the VIP room where it all began. Despite the graininess of the footage, it was easy to see Chrissy sitting next to Camron, caressing his arm and leaning in to giggle. It showed nothing improper, but there was no denying the familiarity. "So, this is the night everyone's been talking about," was the caption. The response was harsh and immediate. Jim's comments were inundated with broken heart emojis from fans. "This is how you repay 15 years of loyalty." One person even wrote, Jim had stopped holding back at this point. He went live on Instagram for the first time since the scandal began, his voice trembling and his face icy. "I don't owe anybody no explanation," he replied. "But let me say this. He didn't mention Chrissy or Cam, but everyone knew precisely who he was referring to. You realize who truly cares for you when the people you love start acting like strangers." Never one to back down, Camron answered in his own life a few hours later. He chuckled through the situation, stating, "Man, people really think I do my brother like that. Y'all got to stop letting the blogs run your lives. Ain't nothing but jokes." He then added, grinning slyly, "Some people are too emotional to be in this game." Once more, the internet was disrupted by that single cue. The feud that had been festering for weeks eventually erupted when Jim's supporters viewed it as a direct insult. Those close to both individuals were working feverishly behind the scenes to defuse the situation. However, it was too late. In front of millions, the fraternity that created Dipet and influenced the music scene in Harlem fell apart. Chrissy remained mute, but according to reports, she was devastated. One acquaintance commented, "I never thought it would blow up like this." Jim doesn't believe her when she claims nothing occurred. No longer. Now, everyone was wondering if this was simply another overblown rumor, or was there something more sinister, a reality that may ruin more than a romantic partnership, because there is video footage that hasn't been made public yet, according to one final insider. Video evidence that could show it all. And everything Jim Jones has worked so hard to build could be destroyed if that clip is ever released. Part 3 reveals what is purportedly on that secret video and how Jim's rage may have driven him to choose a course of action that could permanently alter his life, both in terms of love and loyalty. The Camron and Chrissy story had gone from being a gossip to a national obsession by the third week. Every podcast, YouTube channel, and blog was analyzing it from every possible perspective. However, the next leak caught everyone off guard, an explosive piece of evidence that caused Jim Jones to lose it all. The incident began on a random Tuesday morning when a small, anonymous Twitter account shared a 5-second video of Chrissy and Camron sitting near to each other with the remark, "This is the real reason Jim's losing it." In what appeared to be a poorly lit VIP area, their body language conveyed the entire message. Even though you could hardly hear what they were saying, Cam smirked as his hand brushed Chrissy's as she leaned forward. It was sufficient, even though it wasn't explicit. The post reached 1 million views in a matter of minutes. Jim was being tagged by fans everywhere, pleading for an answer. One user commented, "You're going to let Cam play you like that?" Another commented, "I never imagined I'd live to see this day. This is a crazy Harlem rivalry over a woman." Jim didn't remain silent this time either. Instead, he yelled, According to people familiar with the matter, Jim confronted Celebrity Trap Chrissy as soon as he viewed the video, not via phone calls or texts, but an individual. According to one witness, the situation was real, painful, and tense. Chrissy apparently tried to calm Jim down by telling him it wasn't what it appeared Cam had been doing when he entered their flat. Threw his phone on the table and yelled, "Explain this," making jokes about how people were lying, but Jim wasn't amused. "You made me look like a clown out here," he yelled. "It wasn't just jealousy," the source claims. "You gave the impression that I couldn't manage my own home." It was treachery. Despite all of their ups and downs, Jim had stood up for Chrissy on TV, defended her against detractors, and even proposed to her several times. Now, in his opinion, she had humiliated him in front of the world. Allegedly lasted 4 hours, during which Chrissy sobbed and begged him to believe her, while Jim paced back and forth, mentally reliving every cryptic message, deleted post, and rumor. When it was all over, Jim allegedly left, leaving her sitting on the couch, trembling. Later that evening, Jim returned to Instagram. But this time there was no filter, no music, and no gaudy background, just him sitting quietly before uttering 6 words that made his followers shudder. Some people never recover from betrayal. After hearing that one statement, millions of followers flooded his comments with heartbreak emojis, words of encouragement and advice like "Stay strong. You deserve peace, Capo." If loyalty had a face, it would be Jim, one rapper tweeted, among other celebrity comments. This isn't correct. However, Camron appeared utterly unconcerned until things took a crazy turn while Jim was drowning in pain. Insiders claimed that Jim's crew was getting ready to release a diss track, a full-fledged lyrical assault on Camron, called Loyalty. When Camron, who is Cam, learnt that Over Everything was allegedly full of references to fake friends, snakes in the crew, and a woman who had broken the code, he decided to take revenge on himself. He shared a throwback picture of himself and Chrissy from the early 2000s, when they were all friends, with the caption, "Back then, it was love." Jim apparently went into full fury mode after seeing that post, which destroyed the internet and was like adding petrol to a fire that was already out of control. Number needs to rewrite history. One of his close friends said that Jim was finished talking and wanted to confront Cam directly. Within hours, there were reports of a heated altercation outside a restaurant in Harlem where the two men happened to be, or perhaps it wasn't a coincidence, with witnesses claiming that Jim and Cam nearly threw hands. It was bad. One source told Celebrity Trap, Jim was shouting before their crews pulled them apart. Cam was giggling. It didn't appear to be friendly. Within minutes, the altercation became viral. Supporters were divided. Some sided with Jim, accusing him of defending his pride, while others stood up for Cam, claiming he wasn't deserving of being attacked for something that hadn't even been proven. However, everyone knew deep down that this was about more than just Chrissy anymore. It was about loyalty, trust, and brotherhood. As if things couldn't get any worse, the entire video was leaked, and the same anonymous page that had released the brief clip reappeared with a longer version that showed Chrissy and Cam having what appeared to be a private conversation outside the lounge. When Cam reached out to soothe her, she was clearly upset, wiping her eyes. The audio was not very clear, but one line stuck out. "Chrissy, Jim doesn't understand me anymore. Cam, you know I always have." The internet went crazy. The video went viral quicker than wildfire, and within an hour, Jim Jones' name was trending in over 10 nations. Jim apparently learnt about the new tape while filming a studio session, which gave supporters the assurance they needed to believe the unbelievable. One source claimed that Jim broke down at that same moment, smashing a monitor, storming out, and driving straight home. For the next 24 hours, Jim was totally offline. Nobody knew where he was, and everyone feared the worst. Fans left comments on Chrissy's earlier writings that ranged from pity to rage. One fan wrote, "You destroyed him," adding that he loved you more than life itself. Jim eventually made his appearance, posting a mysterious message. An image of him in black and white gazing out of a window with the words, "Real love, don't need cameras. All I wanted was serenity." In less than an hour, millions of people saw the post. It was painful, vulnerable, and unvarnished. Fans had for years watched as Jim and Chrissy fought, fell in love, and got back together. This time, though, it felt definitive. People are editing videos now. Y'all don't even know what's real anymore. Camron said, "Live once again," in an attempt to repair the damage. However, no one purchased it. The damage was already done. Jim apparently packed up and left their shared house, unfollowed him, then unfollowed Chrissy. The two haven't communicated since. According to insiders, not a phone call, not a text. The relationship between the two titans of Harlem is irreparably broken. Since the fallout, Chrissy has been cited a few times. Loki is silent, unmade up, and obviously damaged. According to a close source, Chrissy regrets everything. Hollywood Life reported. Jim's closest friends claim that he is done trying to save those who wouldn't save him. She claims she didn't cheat, but she knows the optics are horrible. She simply wants Jim to forgive her, but forgiveness might be too far gone. The controversy that began with 1-3 hearts were broken in the hazy photo, and the entire fan base began to wonder if loyalty and love could endure in the spotlight. The same question is now being asked by everyone. Will Chrissy ever be forgiven by Jim Jones? Or will the most renowned love story in Harlem come to an end? Tale forever. There is no doubt about that. Someone always comes away bleeding when betrayal, loyalty, and love intersect. What do you believe actually transpired that evening between Jim Jones, Chrissy, and Camron? Was it a harmless reunion that was exaggerated, or a covert betrayal that eventually surfaced? Drama like this hasn't occurred in Harlem in years, and the narrative gets messier and darker with each new release. Despite years of strain, public splits, and reality TV, Jim and Chrissy's relationship has endured. However, this could be the one storm from which they are unable to recover. Additionally, Camron continues to laugh it off on the internet as admirers find additional purported receipts. There is no doubt that this story is far from over. If the secret video is indeed what some believe it to be, we could be witnessing the conclusion of one of the most illustrious collaborations in hip-hop and the last chapter of a love tale characterized by devotion, suffering, and heartache. However, we're curious about your beliefs. Do you believe Jim should put their relationship back together and forgive Chrissy? Or has someone gone too far in the treachery line already? Put down your line already. Put down your